You're probably about to be fleeced by the government. And I know they keep saying they will increase taxes on working people, but there is a 50 billion black hole which needs to be filled. And they've already pushed business taxes to its limit. So who do you think will be paying for the black hole this time? You. Every single one of you watching this. So let's be frank, they can't go after businesses again. Unemployment has just hit a 4-year high. Youth unemployment is at an all-time high. Our local pubs are closing because they can't afford the staff. The government know that another raid on business means more jobs gone, more shops shuttered, less people wanting to invest in Britain. So where's the 50 billion coming from? While they might not say, it's going to be coming from your pocket, but not how you think. See, Reeves promised not to raise taxes on working people, whatever that means, but they're going to try and make you pay without you even realizing it. They don't need to increase your income tax to get more money out of you. They're going to make everything you buy, every service you use, every single aspect of your life more expensive. And then they'll stand there with a straight face and tell you, we did not raise taxes on working people. So we've got a good idea of what they're looking at because one, they're running out of options on what to tax. So there's a few options left. And second, the government already leaks ideas of what they want to do to the press to get an idea of people's reactions. So we know the areas where they're looking to increase taxes. So let's start with the biggest one, reducing the threshold a business has before it has to register for VAT from 90,000 to just £30,000. And this might just look like an attack on small business, so why does it matter to me? But we all know who pays VAT. It's the customer. This is actually a tax on you. Now think about it, that local builder, he's been doing patios, extensions for 20 years. He keeps below the threshold deliberately, so his prices are competitive. Now suddenly, he and basically all the other builders are forced to charge you 20% more for the same work. Not because he wants to, because HMRC has made him register for VAT. Your hairdresser, 20% more. The plumber who fixes your boiler, 20% more. The decorator who's coming to refresh your living room, 20% more. And while it looks like that businesses are charging you more, they actually don't get to keep a penny of it. It all goes straight to the treasury. So I can understand the theory, right? Think tanks say this will help businesses grow because they won't artificially limit themselves to stay below the threshold so they remain competitive. This is because lowering the threshold means nearly everyone will be VAT registered. So there'll be no point keeping below the threshold. Theory is great, isn't it? But in the short term, this is probably going to be a disaster. Imagine every small trader having to register for VAT, and the next day prices have just gone up 20%. People are just going to think everything is 20% more expensive. And as we're already going through a cost of living crisis, people just stop spending. There is a reason small traders keep below the threshold, and it's not just the 20% they have to charge customers. It's because they have to do quarterly VAT returns. There'll be increased accountancy fees, increased stress from admin, and ultimately, there's going to be less people buying from them. So many small traders will just leave the market and try and get a job with a bigger company. And who wins? Well, big corporations. Small traders used to be 20% cheaper than big business. Now small traders have to compete on the same price with big corporations. Who loses? It's you, because you're the one paying the additional 20%. If you think the cost of living crisis is bad now, well, add 20% to that. So we all know landlords are unpopular with the general public. So adding national insurance to rental income might look like an easy win for the government. And I can bet most people will be like, good, landlords have it too easy. But hold on, think about it for a minute. They want to slap 8% national insurance on rental profits. Now, landlords have been the government's easy target for quite a long time. They've already lost the mortgage interest relief and other tax benefits. And on top of that, there are stricter regulations and higher costs. What we've seen from the past tax rises, every penny of that 8% will get passed straight to tenants. Rents could go up overnight. Can't afford the increase? Tough. The government just made housing more expensive while pretending to punish landlords. But at the same time, landlords will start to question if this is even worth it. You know, the ones who actually maintain their property and care about tenants. They could just throw in the towel. And who will end up buying these properties? Massive corporate landlords who'll squeeze every penny from tenants while doing the bare minimum. And as much as people hate landlords, trust me, corporate landlords can be even worse. But the government is going to get their tax money either way, and you're going to end up paying for it. Speaking of property, we've all heard about the wealth tax, and it does have merit. But when you think they'll be targeting the mega rich, what they're actually flowing is property tax on homes worth over 500k, and they're going to call it a mansion tax. Have you seen property prices lately? 500k isn't exactly a mansion. It's a 3-bed semi in most of the southeast. It's a decent family home in Bristol or Manchester. These aren't oligarchs in penthouses. These are normal people, who bought modest homes to raise families. The genuinely wealthy, they'll just restructure their assets, move money offshore, hire clever accountants like they always do. So who gets hit? Middle-class families who can't escape. People whose only crime was buying a home when house prices are at an all-time high. And when these families are forced to pay maybe, thousands more every year just for the privilege of living in their own home, where does that money come from? They're going to have to cut back on what they spend, creating less jobs, pushing us into a doom loop. While at the same time, the mega rich, they've just got away with it again. And then there's other stealth taxes. Reeves has said she'll unfreeze tax bans in 2028. And we've been stuck on the threshold of 50k before you start paying 40% tax for a couple of years now. In 2020, 4 million people were paying 40% tax. This year, it'll be 7 million. They won't raise enough by raising other taxes. So the obvious thing for her to do is to keep this frozen beyond 2028. And by 2028, that's about 10 million people paying 40% tax. So you get a pay rise to keep up with inflation. Congratulations, you're now a higher rate taxpayer. The government takes 40% of your raise, or your purchasing power actually falls. It's great for the Treasury, but it means you'll actually have less money. And they're also looking at pensions. They're looking at cutting the pension tax-free lump sum. You've saved all your life, you've sacrificed holidays, you've foregone luxuries so you can build your pension. And now they want to slash how much you can take out tax-free. This isn't hitting the wealthy with gold-plated pensions. This is hitting ordinary workers who've just done the right thing. The most controversial stealth tax being flowed is on VAT exempt items. They're looking at removing VAT exemptions, not raising VAT rates. That would be a bit too honest. Just quietly removing exemptions on food, children's clothes, energy-saving materials. So your weekly shop could be 20% more expensive overnight. Your kid's new school uniform, 20% more expensive. If you try and insulate your home to save on heating, 20% more expensive. They'll spin it as if they're simplifying the tax system or removing unfair loopholes. But you'll be paying 20% more for essentials while they pretend they haven't raised taxes. So then think of the impact on sole trades and small businesses. Your customers have less money because everything costs 20% more. They're paying higher rents, higher property taxes, get hammered by fiscal drag, so people have to cut their spending as they have less money. And this is how economies die. Not in some dramatic crash, but through 1,000 cuts. Higher costs, the lower demand, businesses failing, jobs lost. It's a death spiral, and the government is pushing us straight into it. The problem is we need to increase taxes, but the issue is it's never the mega corporations paying for this. It's always you or me in a roundabout way. They know exactly what they're doing. They need to save face and say they won't tax working people. But they know that these tax rises are actually a consumer tax. They know every landlord tax becomes a tenant tax. They know every stealth tax hits the poorest hardest. But they also know most people don't connect the dots. You blame the builder for charging you more, not the government for imposing VAT. You blame the landlord for raising rent, not the Treasury for adding national insurance. It's deliberate, it's cynical, but it's working for them. They get to claim they haven't raised taxes on working people while systemically making your life more expensive in every way. The rich, they'll be untouched, like they always are. They'll restructure, relocate, find loopholes. It's the rest of us, the ones who can't afford clever tax lawyers, who can't move our money offshore, who just want to work hard and get ahead. We're the ones getting fleeced. Now, mark my words, this budget will trigger an inflation bomb. When every small business has to add 20% VAT, when every landlord passes on national insurance costs, when every service becomes more expensive, that's just pure inflation. We already have the worst inflation in the G7. The Bank of England will have to keep interest rates high to combat inflation. So your mortgage is going to remain expensive. It's going to be a triple whammy: higher prices, higher taxes, and higher borrowing costs. They're creating the very crisis they claim to be solving. And when the economy tanks, they'll blame global factors, blame Trump, blame the previous government, blame Brexit, blame anyone but themselves. So let me paint a picture of what post-budget Britain looks like. You're paying 20% more for most services. Your rent's gone up. Your home is subject to new taxes. More of your income is taxed at 40%. Your pension is worth less. Everything in the shops just costs more. But your salary, that's barely moved because your employer is getting hammered by the same taxes and they can't afford pay rises. This isn't just about money, it's about opportunity. It's about opportunity for young people who'll never be able to afford homes. It's about small business owners who just won't take the risk. It's about a country where working hard just doesn't get you ahead anymore. It just makes you a bigger target for the taxman. The annoying thing is, they stood there hand on heart and promised not to raise taxes on working people. Then they construct this elaborate maze of indirect taxes, knowing full well who's going to pay. Every idea they leak to the press is all calculated. They're testing to see what they can get away with. How much can they squeeze before, people say no? So what do? Well, consumers, you can't do much other than cut back in areas where you can and try and see this out. Maybe you're thinking of doing an extension in the next few months. You might want to think about doing that before that kicks in. If you're a landlord, run the numbers on what national insurance will actually cost you. If you're in a 500k property, make sure you have some spare capacity to deal with this so-called wealth tax. Look, we need to raise taxes or cut spending. The government needs to make decisions. It's about who shoulders this burden. They've chosen to protect the wealthy and make working people pay more and destroy small businesses. They're just playing politics so they can say, we didn't tax you more directly, but it's easy to see through. We know who's really paying. It's the builder who'll lose customers. It's the family whose rent just went up. It's the small business owner drowning in VAT returns. It's you watching this video wondering, how am I going to afford next year? If you're a sole trader or a small business, you need to get ready. MTD is coming on top of all of this. We've made an action plan for making tax digital so you can get ahead of it. It's in the comments below, so make sure you download that. Because if they drop the VAT threshold to 30k, you'll be drowning in quarterly returns, digital requirements, and penalties if you're not prepared. And if you're a business owner watching this and you're properly worried about what's coming, well, just book a consultation call with us. With the right strategy and the right structure and the right planning, you can minimize this damage. Let me know in the comments below what taxes you think the government is going to increase in this budget.